feel emotional.
I know you feel emotional. Are you ready? Miquita's so excited, I don't even know what to do with her. It's like losing her shit completely.
I was here for like 6 years.
Hello.
Come in.
You must be Felicia. How is it you look exactly the same?
Exactly the same. Exactly
A
the same.
tiny little bit
My
grayer.
hair was jet black the last time I saw it.
Slightly annoying,
Crazy.
isn't it?
Okay,
Come
so
on in.
Come into your sort of bespoke Korean life.
I'm just doing a bit of plating. Yeah, can I say, your message was hysterical. Because I go to people, what do you like? And they're like, tomatoes, I like lamb, I like fish. You're like, I quite like a bibimbap. Banchan, I'm like, all right, Steve Jones.
We know you have the skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, babe.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh,
It's
listen,
true.
challenge accepted. Challenge accepted.
So for a drink, I've made a dirty old screwdriver.
Right, you know what? It's a screwdriver.
But I was like, what was
China
that
VAT.
shitty drink that we used to drink all over England? I was like, a screwdriver. Mum, what we eating?
So, and I'm not, a Korean chef, but I've taken some Korean inspirations. Also, I didn't have any gochujang. So, I've made some little chicken skewers, but I've used some white miso and some kind of hot pot peanutty seasoning and some chili and some other delicious things. And then we put those on the barbecue. We've got a steak that's been marinated in some fermented black beans and garlic.
Oh.
And then we've got these spinach with sesame and sesame oil, and then some pickled radishes, and then a sort of salted cucumber with onions, and then some red pepper flakes. And here, this is pickled wild garlic leaves.
Yes.
So having been in Korea as a star model, Sam,
Yeah.
where you wrap everything. They wrap different things in different leaves. So when it's wild garlic season in Korea, they use wild garlic to wrap. So the steak, this is made by my Korean friend called Young Hee, and she oddly lives in Wales.
Yeah.
Okay.
The big old, very famous Welsh-Korean connection.
Peculiar.
And she made this for me, and I've had it in the fridge, and I thought, oh, great, I can use the wild garlic. So you take a leaf of that,
Yes.
and then you take a piece of the steak, and you wrap it around the steak and stick the whole thing in your mouth.
Amazing.
And then there's some steamed rice, because you said you liked steamed rice.
Love
and
it.
then this is a little reduction gravy made from the marinade of the chicken and a bit of Shaoxing wine and butter. Because butter. Because butter. Because
You gotta have butter.
Because you gotta have butter. All right. Yes.
Incredible.
Everybody.
Steve Jones is with us today. The man who knows all my secrets and knows everything about me.
This is a mistake having me on this. This is the big mistake.
Yeah.
Especially when we're
good.
giving him alcohol as well. It's all going to come out.
So, Steve Jones is here, and who have you brought with you? Who's your guest today?
This is my wife, Phylicia Jackson Jones.
Hi.
Felicia Jackson
Yeah.
Jones.
Jackson Jones.
That's actually who Steve
That
Jones
is an excellent name.
I'm technically Steve Jackson Jones.
Yes.
I took Felicia's name.
Yeah,
Steve
that
Jackson
happens.
Jones,
People do that.
Felicia Jackson. That is a great name. It just sounds very
I
like
was just
you're at stuff.
just so bored of being a Jones. It's the most boring name in the world. Everybody in Wales is called Jones. So I had this amazing opportunity to become a Jackson Jones,
No,
to
and
you took
hyphenate
it.
that bitch.
And you
I
took
went
it.
for it.
You
I
took
went
it
for it.
straight
And I
away.
love it.
Also, it feels like it just works. Like Jackson works with the Jones.
Awesome, isn't it?
Nice.
My full name, actually, Stephen Ashton Jackson Jones.
Yeah, of course, the Ashton
sound
still
black.
there.
Which is,
That sounds like a black man. Stephen Ashford Jackson.
I was just
Jones.
about to say there's a famous film with Carl Weathers called Action Jackson.
Action Jackson.
Yeah.
Of
Carl
course.
Weathers.
My last memory of us is me and you in that kind of weird time where we were maybe going to do breakfast radio.
Yep.
And I was like 31 and I wasn't really working. I was not in a great place. Steve was in quite a good place, actually. But we had a really honest conversation. We went for a drink and we were both a bit like, if this is how it's going to feel trying to be a broadcaster, then they can kind of do one.
I think we were both just a bit tired of being told what we could say, and we just really wanted to be unfettered and be Steve and Miquita, and there was no platform to do that.
To just do that.
And I think there's still no platform to do that unless it's something like this, a podcast.
This is one of the reasons
God
why
bless
we wanted
the
to do
podcast.
this, yes.
It's
God bless
the
the
Wild
podcast.
West.
Yeah.
Anything
Yes.
goes on here. I can say anything I want.
Wait, and
Go,
I
do
mean,
it.
not. I didn't want to check your tea. You can say exactly what you want.
I didn't realise that you were American until today.
No.
I didn't know that you'd met in LA. You met in LA, right?
We met in LA.
Tell us the story. How did you guys
Oh,
It
God,
was
this
like-
doesn't paint a pretty picture of me.
Well,
but
it was very old-fashioned. It was just at a bar. I walked in. It was the Soho House in West Hollywood, and I looked at up the grand staircase, and he was standing there at the bar, and I was like, oh, "Who is that?" And my friend that I was with was like, "You gotta go talk to him," and I was like, "No." And she finally like goaded me into like approaching him and his friends. And luckily his friends were like, "Oh, hey girls, like come have a drink with us." But he was like, had his back to us.
Oh, that's very unsteve.
And
No, I was engaged
he was
in a
talking to
conversation.
his other friend. And then, so they were like, "Steve, meet our new girlfriends." And he turned around and he was like, "Hi, hi," turned back around. Just
Oh
like,
my goodness.
That's not quite true.
It is.
I did turn
It
around
is.
and I went, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you." And then I turned back because I was engaged in a conversation
Engaged
with
in a
somebody. I didn't want to be
conversation.
rude to them, so I thought I'd be rude to the person
To
I
the
just
new
met.
person.
instead.
yeah.
And I really didn't think much of it because I turned around, I'm like, "Oh, beautiful woman, hello, nice to meet you." But I'm talking to
Nice to meet
this
you,
chap.
beautiful
It
woman.
was
I'm
very
quite used
matter
to
of fact, though. It was like, "Oh, hi, hi," and then turn around. It wasn't like a.
It wasn't like,
Hi,
whoa,
nice to
there
meet
you are.
Yeah. So
Finally.
He was wanting like, a
want some
wind
sauce?
moment.
yes, yes.
I get that.
And
Well,
so,
what would you prefer if I turned around and I was like, "Hey, baby,
No, more like-
what are you?"
More like
That would
Hello.
be worse. That would
Exactly,
be worse. That would be
terrible.
creepy.
No,
does
more
that?
like, oh, where did you come from? Like that energy.
Where have you
No,
been on my
where
life?
You've been on my life.
Heaven must be missing an angel. that kind of
Oh, my
that kind
God.
of stuff.
So how did it progress from turning his back to like?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, so me and my friend went off after we had a cocktail with him and his friends without any interaction with Steve, really, because he still had his back to us.
Very important conversation.
And I thought, that guy's such a jerk. I'm not talking to him. And so we went off, and then we came. My friend was like, "Let's go back for another round. They'll buy us another drink."
Back for another round of humiliation.
And I was like, "Oh gosh!" But then by this time, he was fully like engaging, and it just slowly turned into me and him just talking and separating from the group. And then, yeah.
I was like, "Oh, it's so nice to meet you." Sorry, I did say sorry about it earlier,
I
but I was
can't
I was having a
remember that, but-
conversation. But it's really nice to meet you. I'm glad I got a chance to speak to you again. And
Because what I
was that.
remember from Steve's interaction with women over the years when we were working together was just like, he did just look at women and they'd get all silly. And I'd be like, what the hell is going on?
I believe
Nuts.
it.
No, but
Insane.
But me and Mum were talking about it, and I think the interesting thing about it is because you're obviously very handsome and always have been, but you're very smart and very charming. That was what drew women to Steve, and I thought that was a really lovely thing because I think also you love women and you're interested in them.
Absolutely.
And
Grow up with lots of women.
No, not particularly. I mean, I got two brothers, blood brothers, Jonathan and Chris. But I suppose I did inherit a sister, Gemma, when my father married my stepmother when I was 18, and she was.
That's quite late, though, isn't it? It's like
Yeah, well, they married. Actually, they married when I was 18, but Sian and her son John, my stepbrother, and Gemma, my stepsister, moved in when I was about 14. So I suddenly had a sister in the house. And
Right.
I suppose, so that's something.
no, it's good.
But I've just always, I preferred the company of women, to be honest with you.
Oh.
I know men. I'm one of them. I get it. I'm far more intrigued by the opposite sex.
Well, I've never really asked you this. Like, how did you feel about the way you looked when you were young and kind of that becoming a thing and people talking about how handsome you were all the time?
What a question.
No, because it was a very real thing.
Yeah, I just ignored it, It's people want to say nice things about me. Thank you very much. But I'm not going to focus on it too much. I mean, become that self-involved, that's not good for you, I don't think. So
that's kind of the healthiest way to respond
Yeah.
to that stuff, isn't it?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like to look good. I want to present the best me when I'm in public. And I think that's one good thing about being on TV. You're always trying to look after yourself and keep fit and all the rest of it. But I never really focused on it that much, to be honest with you. I mean, even when I was modeling, I was told that I was just kind of like,
Go on, what did they say?
well, I failed dismally in London. I think that was good for my ego at the time. I moved to London after being a huge success in Korea, modeling. I thought, this is it. I'm going to be a model. Here we go. So I moved to London, and London was like, no, you're not going to be a model. You're not
happening.
You're not interesting looking enough. I went to Storm, Elite, all the big modeling agencies at the time. I don't know who they are now. And they were all like, you need to go to a specific agency in Knightsbridge called Goodfellas.
I love that. What did they do? Good. Is it like catalogs?
They specialised it. Yeah, well, Andy, nail on the head. Fast 2 weeks later, I'm in a field with a wax jacket on, my arm around a cocker spaniel, pointing to the sky. You know, the classically good-looking guys.
So you were very quickly at the right agency.
Yes,
And you
it was
thought, you know
perfect.
what? I don't want to do this. I'm not interested.
It was more even then. I did a bit of work. I did the Armani show in the Royal Albert Hall, which is really cool. I did a bit for Pringles.
Wow.
The fashion label,
Not
like
the crisps.
I thought you meant the crisps.
That's
I
because you
was
said
barbecue.
That's because you
That was an
said
interesting segue.
the fashion
Armani,
people, yeah.
Pringles.
No, if you say Pringle, that's the company, the clothes company. Pringles
Oh, right.
is the
Just,
crisp.
I mean, getting it wrong. Yeah, Pringles.
Yes.
So Pringle, drop the S. All right. But even then, I wasn't successful. I just the jobs just dried up pretty quickly.
So I guess at this time, I'm already doing Pop World and stuff because we sort of were put together and told that we were just going to be doing T4 together a few times, I think. So I think for me, if I had gone into T4 and it wasn't with Steve, you're hearing what a firecracker I was anyway. So I think if I didn't have you at that time,
Keeping you on the straight and narrow.
I really would have gone off the rails. No, but I mean, I wouldn't have felt so safe doing all the things we did. And also, I was losing my mind. I didn't really know how to handle it anymore, I think. I was becoming a grown-up and realising that I was really well-known and I couldn't escape it and all that stuff. So
An insane platform to grow up in. I mean, we were so lucky that we didn't get the whole Twitter, social media thing.
Can you imagine?
We were far better presenters for it. I'm convinced that if we had been, dragged across the coals daily, going, oh, why have you done that? That's not funny. Oh, that's stupid. What?
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had the freedom to do whatever we wanted to do.
we're so lucky that we had that kind of school.
Yeah, absolutely. We cut our teeth in the best place imaginable, and it was live and it was exciting and we're all great
Do you think that
presenters
the
for
way
it.
social media affects people who work on TV is... I mean, I think it's quite adverse, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I also think in terms of people's mental health and how you manage on a daily basis, like before people were just shouting at the telly. Now they can actually get to you and some of it is so vicious. I'm really lucky. I don't know why I'm so lucky, and I'm waiting for it to change because it always changes. But I've had friends who've been through actual hell. Do you know what I mean? And they don't want to leave the house. They don't want to come out the front door because they're, scared that they come outside and next thing they know, Twitter is going to be like popping up.
Did you ever get any of that when you married Steve?
I think there was one person that tried to troll me by saying, "You're no Megan Fox," which I was like, I don't know what that means.
No,
that was where we were
I
headed.
didn't respond or
told me that.
anything. That was like a long time ago, and I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
P.S. You're no Megan Fox. Okay.
I'm also not, I don't know, whoever.
Yeah,
What are you
so
talking
you
about?
never respond, but I just thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
There was no context. It was just kind of a random
So when you met him,
Yeah.
he was already famous here.
yes.
Were you doing X Factor America? Because that wasn't the easiest time for you. It was quite an unpleasant experience.
Yeah, it was tough. But also the best thing that ever happened to me because that's when I met Felicia.
Yeah.
So even though it was pretty much career suicide at the time.
Why, what happened?
Well, because Simon and the X Factor bunch were dangling the carrot of potentially doing American X Factor. So it just kept going on and getting pushed back. And I was in the running for it. So I kept turning down multiple big gigs in the UK in order to keep in the running for that. And I'm going to go with Simon, hey, that's the business. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, it was really tough because I landed that role. I got it. Everybody wanted it. I got it. And I thought, well, this is it. This is the start of the big time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And the show itself wasn't what I hoped it would be. If ever the maxim, careful what you wish for,
Right.
was ever spot on, it was that because I thought it was going to be great, and it was great to be part of a big show like that. But when when I suddenly dawned on me, oh my God, this is hardcore. I don't know if I like being part of this. Ironically, the decision was taken out of my hands at the end of the day. They just they let me go after season 1 because it wasn't the success everybody was hoping it was going to be. The show died a slow death after that.
What do you do with your life, P? Well, I'm allowed to call you P. Do we all call
Can
you
we
P?
call you P?
Call me P.
I call you P.
I get called all kinds of nicknames. Felicia, Fish,
Oh.
P,
We wanted to talk about your actual name.
Felicia.
Yes.
Yeah. My parents, I'm one of 4 girls.
Oh, yeah.
And they named us all after pop culture people at the time. So
Phylicia Rashad.
yes.
Ah.
And I just loved how it was spelled.
She's
so-
fabulous.
Yeah.
And I don't know her. Who is she?
She's the mother on the Cosby Show.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know Phylicia Rashad.
I just didn't know that was her name. Ooh.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
very cool.
She's super intelligent and just like she's really cool.
What are the other sisters? Can we ask?
So the oldest is Sheena, after Sheena Easton.
yeah, Eastern
And
Scottish.
there's me. Is she Scottish?
Sheena Eastern Scottish, yeah.
Oh, I
Sheena
didn't know that.
Easton.
And then
Don't tell them who it's after. See if they can guess.
Yeah.
Whitney.
Oh no, who's
Okay. Oh my God, you've actually got a Whitney. Amazing.
I don't know if you'll get Chelsea though.
Chelsea?
Really random one.
Wait a minute. Oh no, I know.
No.
I know. No, you'll never get it.
Chelsea
Clinton.
Yes.
I was going to say Clinton,
Okay,
but
I
no.
take it back. Yeah.
Chelsea Clinton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Very random, but yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what do you? I don't know what you do. What
Wait
do
a minute. I just want to know because I just really want to know where Felicia's parents are from.
Oh, so my dad is from the deep, dirty South, Arkansas. He was born and raised there. And then my mother kind of bounced around with her military-ish family from like New Mexico to Cleveland, Ohio, and then ended up in Vegas. And that's where my parents met. And then that's where I was born in.
And you were raised in Vegas, weren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, were you?
Yep.
Wow, I've never been to Vegas.
You've never
No.
been? Oh,
We went low.
Awesome. Awesome.
I feel like I'm not sure I'd like it.
You would love it.
we can give you a list.
Steve, I said whether my mother
No, she would 100%.
Yeah.
Because it's everything. It's like,
It's
what do you
anything
want
you
your
want it
evening
to
to be?
Mm-hmm.
It's all
It's
there.
not because you know what I hate is an arcade. So I'm like, is it just like loads
Vegas
of
might not be
arcades?
for you. No. I'm joking. All that stuff is there, but
Yeah.
everything else is as well. You know, world-class restaurants, amazing bars, nightclubs. For instance, we tend to go in December, around about Christmas time. We spend a few days up in the mountains. We're in a log cabin in the snow.
What?
There's skiing
There's
up there.
mountains?
Massive
Yeah, I thought it
hiking
was
trails.
desert.
No,
There's
it's
snow.
everything. It's everything.
Did we do like 2 or 3 trips there?
The first time I ever went was with you. We went
Really?
together. Yeah, it was about 2005. I
Yeah,
wanna say.
it was my first time in. It was when we did North American tour. We
Yeah.
did San Francisco, Vegas, and LA. And I actually got really homesick.
You used to get homesick all the
You
time.
were so young.
I know.
She used to get homesick all the time, apart from when you went to Aspen.
Oh, I loved it.
And
That was a
she
trip.
was like, Mum, I'm a genius.
Oh yeah, no.
I am on the advanced ski slope, and the ski man is asking me how long I've been skiing. It was the first time she'd ever done it.
It was unusual how quick she got to grips with
She
it.
was
I was
really
all over the
into it.
shop, and we got.
Crazy town. I was like,
I'm trying to think of a famous skier to compare you to, but I came up blank. All I had was Eddie the Eagle, but that's not quite.
can we get
You know
someone a
what I
bit
mean.
cooler? Welcome back to our table with Steve Jones and his wife P. What do you think of the food? What do you think? How well did Mum do with her Korean
The
hand?
flavour.
Bloody
I am
awesome.
dying over it. It's all
So
so,
good.
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 I was just thinking when you were telling the story about Aspen, I remember it vividly. It was extraordinary, and just how lucky we are to have the jobs that we have had over the years, and how I'm not going to speak for you, Miquita, but me personally, I'm the kind of guy when I go away to a city, I'm like, where's the pub? I'll just sit in that pub the entire weekend. But with presenting, what it forces you to do is, hey, you're in New York, you're going up the Statue of Liberty. Well, you've got to do things. And it's been a really good thing for me to do that, because I would just sit in the pub all day otherwise.
Yeah, it's sort of made us become adventurous.
Yeah, because you have to. That's the job. If you're going to be in San Francisco, then guess what? You got to go to Alcatraz. You got to go to the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
You have to do these things. That's why you're there. And I've always loved the job for that.
When I was doing GLR, when I was doing a radio show every single day, it was so good for me. I'd been through quite a lot of weird stuff. My brother had died and all sorts of crappy things had happened. I was quite depressed. But I was doing this radio show, and it was amazing because it forced me, and it was an arts and entertainment show. So every day there was somebody who'd written a book, made a film, written a play, doing a dance performance, something like that was happening. And I was forced out of my depression, out of my state of just wanting to be on my own in the house, not talk to anyone, not do anything. And I had to re-engage with somebody every single day, 5 days a week. And it sort of helped me get better.
Yeah.
was one of the things that helped me get better because I had
Saved you,
to
didn't it?
just like
And just
get
being
my
around
shit together.
creative people as well.
Yeah.
It's just good for the soul, clever, interesting people.
Can I please ask her what she does
Yeah,
now?
sorry, now you can ask.
No
me.
one will let me talk to you. What do you do with your life?
So I mainly write recipes for a supermarket, well-known supermarket.
What kind of recipes you write? What kind of stuff do you...
I started off doing a lot of their healthy recipes, and then it kind of spilled into like the advertorials and seasonal things sometimes. And
Are you a nutritionist?
yeah, I studied it just so I could add that to my recipe writing. Yeah, just
Have
making
you
sure.
always cooked then?
Yes.
my
Like
God.
since I was 8, I'm like,
Oh my gosh, she's like me.
I want to say I was self-taught because both my parents worked. They were both out of the house, and it got to a point where I was sick of eating like macaroni and cheese from the box or like pot noodles or whatever. So I would just go in the fridge and start experimenting with stuff. And
good
God.
slowly but surely, I started like making real shit. Like I was like, oh my God, I made like a chicken with paprika sauce.
Right.
Yeah, and I was only 8 years old. So
Were you using recipe books or did you just make stuff up?
I would just make stuff up.
That's
Yeah.
great.
But then eventually when I got my own place, when I like left home, I started using recipe book, and that also really like taught me different techniques and stuff. So
God, so did you cook for Steve all the time? I mean, for both of you.
I did. That's how I hooked him.
Right,
I
yeah.
was like,
Always. That's how I got Garfield
That's how
as
she got my
well. That's how I
dad,
got
true
Garfield
story.
too. I made him chicken.
He
Done.
was a
Over.
vegetarian before he met my mother.
You can be.
He hadn't eaten meat for 13 years.
Yes.
oh my God.
And now he's like goat curry
And I
for
made honey
breakfast.
baked chicken and he went, fuck it.
Wow.
That's it.
Converting a vegetarian, that's got to be on the CV. That's
Nana did
amazing.
it to her husband as well. My best friend did
Wow.
it to her husband.
Convert-
He'd been in Japan.
Can
just eating
convert
kind of-
vegetarian.
It's not hard. So you left America and came.
I did.
Wow.
Because we were in LA living together for about a year before he was like, I got to go back. You're coming with me? And I was like, yeah.
I didn't want to stay there any longer in LA because I wasn't getting the job offers I wanted, and I didn't want to end up one of those dead behind the eyes wandering around LA going, it could still happen to me, you know?
Oh
I
my
stayed,
God.
shut shop, go home. And I said, Felicia, I feel like I need to go home for my career, but I don't want to leave you. Will you come home with me? And she said, yes.
Is that when you got married?
We got married about a year after that.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. And it's been awesome ever since. Best thing I've ever done.
Was it scary?
No, actually, I was ready for a change because I'd been in LA for 10 years at that point.
Right.
And I was starting to get that icky,
That is quite enough time in LA.
sick of the people
Sick of
there.
the sight
Just
of
like
it, yeah.
all the like, everyone's just so competitive and nobody roots for you. And it starts to like really crawl into your skin
Everybody's
where
so
you start to
flaky.
hate everyone.
Yeah, it's like there's no community.
Yeah. And so I was like, I think I'm done with all this. I'm ready to go to Britain. Everyone here is so lovely that like once I moved here, I was like, this is a different, like I'm enjoying this
How
change.
long were we
a
living
lot.
together for in LA?
About a year and a half.
Yeah, but we knew that it worked before we moved to the other side of the Atlantic. Obviously, you got to know what you get yourself involved in, and we're like, okay, we love living together. Let's just do it in a different continent.
And you live in the countryside now, though. So
Yes.
have you got community there?
Well, Felicia has, but
Yes,
I'm
I
antisocial.
Like making
so
friends. He's a bit.
You haven't met the neighbours.
I say hello to them.
Yeah, he's
You know,
cordial,
then-
but he won't be like, I'm coming over for a barbecue now.
I'm fine with F1. I'm just getting around all the time. When I have my F1 family, and obviously I have my family back in Wales, and I have my London friends. I mean, just there, I just want it to be, my fortress of solitude with my wife.
With your wife.
I don't. It's just too much. I'm too old to be starting again in a new community. So I'd rather step back
Oh,
and be on.
you're not 105. He sounds like the 100-year-old man who climbed out the window. I'm too old to be making
I can't be making new friends
talking
again.
about?
I can't
Of course
do it.
you can.
No,
Your best friend
Well,
might be in that village.
I can. I just don't
I
want
just
to.
don't want to. I was just thinking when we were younger, I did try and drag you to things, and I quickly learned that there are the things that you like to do, which is like bar 5 people you love.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
That's pretty much
I was
it.
like,
yeah,
I'll stop.
that's
Maybe
pretty
like
much it.
yeah, and like or a good restaurant, but it was always like you always like to have like the kind of safe crew. And I don't think you've ever been kind of searching for more than that. That rooty stuff.
Yeah, well, this is perfect. It's the 4 of us right here. As soon as you have an extended friend group of like 15 people and you're all in the same room. That's crazy. It's too many people.
There's too many people.
You can't be that real with that amount of people. You need a smaller group.
You really don't like wild cards either.
I get nervous with wildcards.
I get it.
I'm like, who are you bringing? Can you send me like a short video of them speaking to the camera? Who are they? What they do?
And tell me about their energy.
Yeah, I need to see. It's too much. Again, too old for that. I just can't be bothered with breaking new ground like that.
So what about TV and work now? Because I think also the other thing is being a broadcaster is quite people-y, isn't it? You're constantly talking to different people, big
Fascinated
teams.
by people, and by society as a whole, but I've got loads of friends in my life. I don't need any more. So that's, it's a different thing. But I like people. I'm interested by people. I want to be around people.
Yeah.
But on my own terms.
With my rules. Nice.
But you're right.
Organised.
Everything we do is it's people, isn't it? It's people,
Yes.
it's conversations, chat.
And I mean, for what you said, F1, Formula One's what you do for Channel 4 and have done for, is that 10 years now as well?
This is my 8th season, so 8 years.
I don't understand
Racing.
car racing. I'm not begrudging anybody else their enjoyment of it.
People love that sport.
I
It
know, I
is
see.
crazy.
I've tried to talk to people about it and they've got quite annoyed with me. I'm like, I'm not having a go at you. I'm just trying to understand your joy. Because I'm just like, but they're just going round and round in circles. I don't get it.
Cars racing against one another,
Going round in
overtaking one
circles
another.
is fun.
Jeopardy
That
all
is
over
extraordinary. And don't forget, it's the people in the
I
car
met
as
one
well,
of
the
them once.
personalities.
Eddie something. What's he called?
Eddie Jordan?
No.
Eddie Irvine?
Older. Eddie Irvine.
Yeah.
He drove me in a car once and I told he was going way too fast.
I
I
was
was
a
like,
racing car.
mate, want to slow down?
Did you have to get into it?
Well, when he had to crash course, learn about it before he started.
Oh, so you did have a little crash course, yeah.
I had to. I didn't know anything about it.
Did you not?
It's the old adage. Someone
Yeah.
says, can you ride a horse? You say,
Yeah.
yes. Ridden a few Grand Nationals in my time. I've won a few of those. I'm an equestrian. Love a good old horse, but you just...
I love that about our job. I love that you can have a phone call that changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that excitement. So, TV, but you wrote a book.
Oh, look, that's not deliberately sat there like that, by the way.
No, I was reading it and then I put it
I
on.
didn't, that looks like we sort of staged it there, didn't
Very
it?
nice to see it.
I was saying to Mum earlier, I'm so happy that this is something that you're doing and that you've done because I don't think people ever realise how smart you are. And I loved knowing how smart you are and I liked it being my secret. But I think I think it's really important for people to know how your brain works. And just starting to read it, Steve, I was like, oh my God, there's Steve's brain. Like just the way...
That's lovely.
It's
That's
a
a
very
really
particular
cool thing to say.
kind of brain. And we used to have the maddest conversations, like our conspiracy theories and, like our 7-hour drives back from Wales or wherever we'd been filming. And we would just talk. And I feel like all those ideas, how frustrating it gets with TV. You just have them and you can't. So to be able to put whatever your ideas have been into this book, I'm just really excited for this moment for you.
Yeah, it's everything you've just said. Thank you very much, firstly. I was really itching to become, to use that word again, unfettered, just be me and write the things I wanted to write. Because obviously with TV, you have to be careful. You don't want to offend people. Not that there's anything offensive in that book, but it is a bit more edgy than anything I've written with T4, for instance. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to write a book and I'm going to say the things I want to say. And you know what Penguin said? You can't do that. You're like, you're going to have to take that out. Like, really? Well, yeah, if you want Penguin to publish this, you've got to take that out.
But I thought this was my freedom space.
Well, that's the thing. And I thought in a book you can, but it doesn't work like that. But obviously it's a bit more give and take in publishing than it is on TV, Channel 4. Like, no, you can't say that.
Yeah, of course.
Not that we ever wanted to offend people, but we did, be a bit fast and loose.
Push it a bit.
Yeah,
It's
push
not
it a
about offending
bit.
people. It's about, freeing up yourself. These are two different
Absolutely.
things. And unfortunately, sometimes those things cross over.
I'd actually like people to know that. I don't think people know that we wrote a lot of TV.
A lot, most of
yeah, we
T4.
did.
I know it was a group effort, but when it came down to you and I, who worked together the most, it was like, well, we're going to say the things we want to say.
Yeah,
we
like
like
this.
what you're doing here, but I think Miquita would say it maybe like that, and Steve would probably say, and vice versa. We'd put our own stamp on it. So it was always a team effort. But at the end of the day, anything that came out of here, that's me and you signing off.
It was really important to us to be honest, not just tell the truth, but be honest about who I actually am and who he actually is. And that is why we still get shouted T4 at us every day because people watched. Because it was real and it was honest. No matter if we were dressed up in a crab outfit or whatever, we would still go, but why are we here?
What's my motivation?
What's my motivation? I can't just be a crab. Let me know why, and then I'll do it for you.
It better be funny.
And it better be funny.
It better be
Also,
funny.
better be funny, because sometimes things that other people think are funny are not funny to you, and if it's not funny to you, then.
But this
you
goes
can't
back
be.
to what I was saying earlier about the public or the viewers not having direct access to us by saying, the crab costume shit, and that wasn't funny.
Somebody recently said, so we do Gogglebox.
Yeah, I
And
know. Yeah.
we did a Gogglebox, and I did a dolphin impersonation because I don't like dolphins. They freak me out. I think they're weird, right? And this was our conversation. And somebody sent me a message on Twitter going, how dare you?
Oh no.
How dare you encourage people to kill dolphins? I went, what? I don't really want to kill dolphins. I just said, I don't trust
I
them.
think they're creepy.
And I'm not going swimming with them either. Thank you very much. And somebody was like, you're encouraging people to do weird stuff to dolphins. So I'm like, firstly, it's the dolphins we need to be scared of.
Exactly. The dolphins are the
And
predators.
secondly, go away. Just stop talking to me. I mean, I just block things because
Andi Oliver, dolphin tail.
dolphin yob.
But anyway, to get back to success and freedom at work, what does now in life for both of you? What does success look like for you? Because I remember Steve said to me once that he was just so happy that he'd found someone that he could sort of run around the world with.
Yeah.
And obviously, but you also are a broadcaster and now writing. What does it look like to be in like a successful place?
It's a good question. A decent bank balance. If I can be completely honest, I want to continue the lifestyle we've become accustomed to.
Yeah.
And that involves continuous work. And I think that's where F1 has been a godsend. I mean, no one knows better than you guys that with TV, by its very nature, it comes to an end.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're Ant and Deck. But it's going to come to an end. That's how it works. People are going to tire of it. Turns out with sport, that ain't true. That shit just went on and on forever. So I feel very lucky to be part of F1. It's been 8 years of a wonderful time, so can't complain. But yeah, that's what is success for me, being comfortable and continue to live the life you want to live.
How about you, P?
Yeah, I agree. And neither of us have ever been regular job people. So if we can achieve that and have like our flexible schedule and be able to like, hey, we've got a couple weeks, let's go somewhere. That to me is like really important, and let's like.
So you travel a lot, like holiday party.
Yeah.
Felicia comes to a lot of the F1.
This job was literally made for you. I can't believe it takes you all around the world
Very
in that
lucky.
way. Wow.
So writing, Steve, what I really enjoy, because I've also have a book out actually, and I really enjoyed the process of writing. It's like the physical act of it. I found really meditative, slowing down like that, making space for myself that nobody else could kind of almost get into was just a really brilliant experience for me. Did you like doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. I just love being creative, imagining worlds, putting it on the paper. And, it really appeals to me to go back to the presenting thing again. I did Monaco like last week, a couple of weeks ago. That's on the recording box for a week, then it's gone. And with writing and something like call time, it's tangible, it's in your hands, and it's going to be around forever.
Yeah.
That lives and breathes now, whether I'm anywhere near or not. So that really, really appealed to me, just to do something for once that lasts.
God, I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah, with actors and musicians, they get that one song that lives forever. But presenters, it's just so fleeting. It's gone. We presented, well, welcome to the show, and then it's gone. And I just thought, I want to do something.
It's off the iPlayer now. It's off the whatever now,
and
it's
it's
so
done.
where is that?
You've been thinking about legacy a little bit.
Not so much I don't really believe in, after everything I've just said a moment ago, I'll contradict myself. Legacy's bullshit. Once you're dead, you're dead. I don't really get that. I mean, just while I'm here to have this thing that I've done that somebody could pick up. But when I die, I'm fucking burn them. I don't give a shit. I'm gone. Who cares left?
In the front of the book, it says for Chris, who's always with me.
Yes.
And you told me a story about losing a friend when you were young. And
That's him.
It is him. It's the same person. And so was that experience, did it inform this story?
An element of the story, yeah. This story as a whole is about an entertainment / agent to the stars, Bob Bloomfield, who, at a glance doesn't seem like a particularly nice person. But he's not bad. He's sad, essentially, because he suffered this horrific childhood trauma. Him and his brother went on a bike ride when they were kids, and his brother came off the bike and died. Bob's always blamed himself. He's broken inside. He pushes everybody away. And one day he has this world-altering moment where he goes to a fancy dress party, and part of his outfit involves an 80s mobile phone. During the course of the evening, he rings his childhood home, and his 12-year-old self in the year 1986 picks up on the other side, which gives him the opportunity to save his brother. But as we know, when you seek redemption, sometimes it just makes things worse and worse. So that's Bob's story. The only connection between me and him is that one grim life experience that he had, I shared with my best friend, Chris.
Is that how he died?
Yeah, when me, my brother Jonathan and Chris, we went on a bike ride. I was 19, Chris would have been 20. And Chris came off his bike and he died there and then. So
Straight away?
He died in my arms. He was on the road and I came up and I swept him up and I held him there. I could just see, this is the end. He's going.
This is happening, yeah.
So I used that in the book, which I'm still a bit ambivalent about whether to use something like that or not. I have spoken to Chris's family. They're aware of it. They know it's not a story about Chris, although I did borrow that element just because I wanted it to be authentic. It couldn't be some, two-dimensional cliche. You had to be somebody you believe, and I wanted his grief to be believable. So I borrowed from my own.
You had to use your own.
I had to.
Yeah, because you can't. There's no facsimile for that, is there?
Yeah.
So you were how old? 19.
I was 19. Yeah.
See, I was 25 when my brother died, and that thing of somebody dying, bam, 1 minute it's Tuesday, everybody's fine. By Friday, they're dead. My life fractured and my heart fractured. Everything. What was it like for you? Like
Exactly the same. Just changed everything. I mean, the dynamic between our families. I knew Chris. We were babies together. He was our next door neighbor, so we lived next door to one another, and it just destroyed everything. Everything changed. Everybody was just deeply traumatized from it. The people who were there, the people who weren't there. A part of me, I felt a little bit guilty because, there were 2 Jones boys there and just 1 Lewis boy. And I needed to get away. I ran away from it. I went traveling. I needed to get away from it because even now, when I'm back in the valleys, I use that road all the time to go see my uncle. I see it every time. But it was also a part of me, and it feels kind of, childish to say as a 46-year-old, but I just wanted to live enough for 2 as well. I thought if I go away, see the world, I don't know, I just say it, that's what I thought at the time. I'm going to go away, I'm going to live as much as I can for me and Chris.
After my brother died, I kept saying to people, there's 2 of me. Because, and I do really believe that on a sort of, in a broader sense as well, that all the people that we lose end up within us.
Yeah.
So, it may not be as literal as there's 2 of me, or, but there is something about carrying love physically in you and with you wherever you go. And I think that if you've lost somebody physically, you think about that more and you kind of embrace that more because you just don't take it for granted because you know how quickly it can be taken away.
Yeah, I was, I don't know how it was for you, but I was angry for a long time as well because it was just so unfair.
It's not fair.
I mean, it just, you talk about only the good die young. This guy just so good looking, so funny, so caring, the very best of all of us.
The very best of all of us.
Really? This guy's
really,
going to go?
this one?
Really?
And yet
What is that?
Just
Why does the
pissed
world
me off.
do that?
So, and it still does, 20 or 26, 27 years later, and I'm still a little bit angry about it because he should be here.
Yeah.
And that was the genesis of the book. Just what would you say to your younger self?
I do think that in the long run for me, what it taught me, I mean, it left pain, obviously, but it also made me even more empathetic as a human being. There's something about that kind of pain and that kind of loss that if you survive it, because people don't always survive it, right? Then you weave it into the rest of you. Is that right?
Yeah, and it makes perfect sense. Yeah, I feel the same way. I also feel that when you go through something like that, it just teaches you how precious life is. Yeah. And, all we've got is the present. You just
like moaning about, oh, God, now I'm 45.
Well, no,
now I'm 52.
I was going to say,
now I'm
you
60.
don't know how lucky you are.
I was going to say, Pete, how old are you these days?
I will be 38 next week.
Oh my God, I'm 39 now. And it's like, oh shit, we're in our late 30s.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I'm 40 next
Real
year.
talk. Real
Steve
talk.
Jones.
But this is I messaged you a little while ago. You were like, I've just turned.
It was
I think-
32.
Was it 32? I thought it was more recent than that.
No, it was 32.
And it just
I'll
made-
never forget what you said.
It just made me giggle because I know you were having like a meltdown in your 20s. You were heading towards 30 and you posted this picture and you looked so beautiful and healthy. And I was like, God, all that wasted energy. And here you are at 32, you've never looked better. You know?
I'm not 32 anymore.
And you look fantastic.
I would say the same stands for 38, for 40, for 45, for 50.
I took it in though. I took it in. I was like, he's right. I'll have a lot more to bitch about later, so maybe don't waste it on 31 and 32.
You're never going to be younger than you are today, though.
Right.
You know, you're going to be, oh my God, I'm turning 50. Jesus Christ, I'm 50. You'll turn 60, thinking, Christ, I wish I was 50.
yeah,
You'll turn
exactly.
70, going, oh God, I wish I was 60.
Remember
It's
when
like,
I was
just-
60?
Yeah. Don't tell me, God, you remember when I was... Literally, I'm already going, I just want to be 34. Phoebe was like, shut the fuck up. So yeah, and also, weirdly, we found this video of my mum's 40th birthday party the other day, which is a crazy thing to see because it's actually a film, you know, on like rather than just pictures. And we had 7 people in it that we'd lost. Over 20 years, 7 people in that film aren't with us anymore. And it was a really visceral way of seeing how physically people aren't with you. Because Mum gives my Uncle Roger a big hug. We give Judy a massive hug. And I thought, that's so funny. I actually don't think about them physically not being here because we talk about them every day, all the time, every day. But seeing that was like, oh shit, I have not physically been near them since they were plucked out of this universe.
Yeah.
And it just, the surrealness of it, the fact that we found it also as my mum turned 60. So I was just like, you know what? It's a fucking privilege to age. And it's a gift. And it's a gift to get to experience every part of life and not just one part.
So I'm so much happier.
Yeah.
And I'm better. I am better. I feel like I get more fabulous all the time. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh,
We were talking about this the other day.
It's
in fact, I couldn't have written that book 10 years ago. No way. I mean, that's a life experience book, you know, traveling, meeting people, understanding how things work. That's something that happens when you get older. So I'm very happy.
it feels good. I feel like I'm at the peak of a mountain. And there are more ahead, but I feel like I can look back
Into the
things.
foothills of your life.
Into the foothills, the sunny foothills of my life.
That's nice.
The beauty, but that's how it feels a bit. It is quite sunny. And
I was going to say one other thing, which I wanted to tell Miquita
Tell
personally, because I thought she'd really enjoy that, and they didn't print it. Going back to what we were saying earlier about you got to be so careful nowadays. I did the magazine Then and Now thing at the back. You know, they say, well, then you were doing this, what are you doing now, blah, blah, blah. And the last one was, who were you most likely to be hanging out with back then? And I said, it was Miquita and then Rick. And they were like, oh, fantastic. What about now? I was like, no, that pair are dead to me. And they were like, Jesus, what, why? Why? And I said, well, firstly, Rick Edwards slept with my grandmother. And Miquita Oliver, she poisoned my cat. So I said that, yeah? And somebody sent me the article the other day. I looked at it, I'm like, fucking great, here we go. And I looked down there, I read it, and then hanging out with Miquita and Rick, brilliant. Now, Miquita and Rick, because they're intelligent, funny, and clever. Does that sound like something I'd say? Whoa!
They really took the liberty to-
Yeah!
I hate it. I hate it when people ruin my joke and change my language.
It's insane, isn't it?
That's very upsetting.
Were they like, oh, we can't say that just in case
But then
it's
they
true?
let me hang myself in the enemy. Jesus Christ. Like, I could have done with a bit of that.
A bit of editing.
Keith, sure you want to say that?
Yeah. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, cheers.
you
Growing
guys.
older and wiser.
Wonderful to see you guys. Wonderful to see you.
Well, older anyway.
I'm older and wiser. Mum, that was quite emotional for me.
I know you went all funny before you opened the door. You went, "Oh my God, it's actual Steve is at the door."
It's actually Steve.
And you both looked at each other. You love each other so much, don't you? You've been through a lot together.
Been through a lot together, and I think when you meet people from a certain time of your life, you start to really remember that part of your life in lots of different ways. You know how you can think in memory, oh God, I was like this and it was like that, and then you're with someone, you're like, and all these other things happened, and all these other beautiful things happened, and all these great people were around me. I had a best friend that I worked with every day and traveled the world with.
That you have someone to share those moments with. It is beautiful, that. And I have to say, I really like Felicia.
Oh my God, I knew you'd like Felicia.
Like Felicia Rashad.
I can't believe you got it.
Oh,
Felicia Rashad.
I was quite pleased with myself.
Yeah, they were happy. It's like, oh, nice one.
Also, I was really glad that they enjoyed the food, because it wasn't actually Korean food. It was like inspired by Korean food with, there was a Korean element because I had the little wild garlic Korean pickled wild garlic.
I think you took the brief and did an Andi Oliver, which is what
Yes.
really people want.
Well, that's what they're going to get.
That's all they get. My drink was such a hit. It did everything I needed it to do. It took him back. It brought up emotions. And it was bloody delicious.
What, the screwdriver?
Recipe: cheap vodka, cheap orange juice, ice.
Because I tried to
That's my
fancy it up
recipe.
when you were having none of it.
Yeah, because you wanted to do fizzy, like that. That's not, as Steve said, that's not a screwdriver.
No.
It's got to be flat.
It's got to be flat and it's gotta be...
Sweet. Flat, sweet, and cold.
How long is it since you've seen Steve?
We haven't seen each other for about 5 or 6 years. And I forgot how much he makes me laugh.
He's funny. He's a funny dude. He is a funny dude.
funny dude.
He's always been a really funny guy.
I think what we know now from talking to him, it's like, I guess it was also quite a monumental life building part of his life.
Yeah,
he just
yeah.
got this massive show on Channel 4. He didn't really know anyone. And as I said earlier, I think we really needed each other. And I think he loved that I came from a family, a proper rooty family that we're about.
Because he comes from a real family that he's very, very close to and that he loves. And I guess maybe that's one of the things that you respond to in each other. Actually, that family connection is really, really strong. It was so sad that when he was talking about his friend, that's just an awful thing. I feel like his relationship with P was some kind of salvation for him. Like when he talks when he goes, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, very calmly, because I met Felicia. They're like both sides of a coin, aren't they? They're like a completely beautiful partnership.
Yeah, and I just thank God, after all the women and all of that time, he found someone so brilliant. Like he's told me he never wanted to get married. I never want to get married. It's not for me. I don't care. And I just don't think he believes someone like Felicia would not only exist, but when you find what you don't even know you're looking for. Yeah, that's what P is in his life.
Cheers, darling.
Oh, cheers, Mama.
Well done.
Well done, you.
Marvellous.